The discovery. In the summer of 1996, deep in the Ural Mountains of Russia, a small and forgotten town called Kyshtym lived in silence. The Soviet Union had collapsed only a few years earlier, and many villages in the region felt abandoned by the modern world. Factories stood half empty, roads were cracked, and the forests surrounding the town seemed darker than ever. Most people believed nothing unusual could happen in a place like this. They were wrong. One evening, an elderly woman named Tamara Prosvirina was walking near the edge of a forest outside the town. Locals later said, Tamara often heard strange voices and sometimes wandered outside at night. But on that day, something truly strange happened. Tamara claimed she heard a small voice calling to her from the ground. Not from the trees, not from the road, from the soil itself. Curious and confused, she followed the sound through the tall grass and broken stones until she reached a shallow pit in the earth. Inside that pit was something she never expected to see, a tiny humanoid creature. It was no longer than a human hand. Its head was strangely shaped, with large dark eye sockets and thin limbs that looked almost fragile. The skin appeared grey and unnatural, stretched tightly over the small body. At first, Tamara believed it was a dying child, but something about it felt wrong. The proportions were not human. The face had no normal features, no visible ears, no normal nose, only hollow shadows where eyes should have been. Instead of running away, Tamara did something unexpected. She picked the small creature up carefully and wrapped it in cloth. Then she carried it back to her small wooden house in the village. There, she placed it on a blanket and tried to care for it. She fed it small pieces of bread soaked in milk and spoke to it as if it were a child. According to neighbors, she even gave it a name. She called it Alyoshenka. But the strange story of Alyoshenka was only just beginning, because within days, people in the village would start asking a terrifying question. Was the creature Tamara found a deformed human child, or something that had never belonged to Earth at all? And even more disturbing, if Tamara really found it in the forest, where did it come from? The village rumors. At first, the strange discovery inside. Tamara Prosvirina's small wooden house remained a secret. She told only a few neighbors about the tiny creature she had found in the forest. But in a quiet town like Kyshtym, secrets rarely stay hidden for long. Within days, whispers began spreading through the village streets. Some people said the old woman had found a deformed, abandoned baby. Others believed it was something far more disturbing. Those who claimed they saw the creature described something that did not resemble any human child. Its head was elongated, its eyes unusually large, and its tiny limbs seemed almost skeletal. According to witnesses, the creature did not cry like a normal infant. Instead, it made strange, weak sounds that people could not quite describe. Some villagers became curious and visited Tamara's house to see it for themselves. They expected to find a sick child, but many left the house pale and unsettled. One neighbor later said that the creature's face looked wrong, as if its features had never been meant to belong to a human being. Despite its fragile condition, Tamara treated the strange being like a baby. She wrapped it in cloth, spoke to it gently, and tried to feed it small amounts of food. But the creature's condition continued to worsen. It appeared weak, dehydrated, and extremely fragile. No one in the village truly knew what it was, and no doctor was ever called to examine it. In the confusion and rumors that followed, days passed without anyone seeking proper help. Eventually, the tiny being stopped moving. The mysterious creature that Tamara had named Alyoshenka died quietly inside that small wooden house. But its death did not end the story. In fact, it was only the moment when the mystery truly began. Because soon after the creature died, something even stranger happened. Authorities became involved. And when investigators finally saw the small body, they would ask the same chilling question that haunted the entire village. If this was not a human child, then what exactly had Tamara found in the forest? The police investigation. The story might have ended quietly inside Tamara Prosvirina's small house, but fate had other plans. Not long after the creature's death, local authorities became involved for an entirely different reason. Tamara had been taken to a psychiatric hospital after neighbors reported unusual behavior. During the investigation of her home, police officers discovered something unexpected. Inside the house, carefully wrapped in cloth, they found the small dried body of the mysterious creature. Tamara had called Alyoshenka. At first glance, officers believed it might be the remains of a severely deformed human infant. But as they examined the body more closely, doubts began to grow. The skull appeared elongated and strangely shaped. The eye sockets were unusually large. The limbs were thin and proportioned in a way that did not match a normal human child. Even more unusual was the skin. Witnesses described it as grey and almost rubber-like, stretched tightly across the small body. Some officers reportedly felt uneasy just looking at it. The discovery quickly attracted the attention of local investigators and medical personnel. Photographs were taken, and the body was briefly examined by specialists. But the results raised more questions than answers. Some doctors suggested it could be a rare human deformity. Others admitted they had never seen anything like it before. Then the case took an even stranger turn. The body of Alyoshenka was handed over to a local police officer for temporary storage as the investigation continued. But before any detailed scientific examination could be completed, the small corpse disappeared. According to reports, the officer had given the body to individuals connected to a group studying paranormal phenomena. After that moment, the physical evidence of the mysterious creature was lost forever. No official autopsy was ever fully documented. No laboratory ever confirmed what the creature actually was. All that remained were photographs, witness testimonies, and one haunting question that still echoes through the town of Kyshtym today. If Alyoshenka was not human, then what exactly did Tamara Prosvirina find in the forest that summer? The disappearance and theories. With the mysterious body of Alyoshenka gone, the case should have faded into obscurity. But instead, the story only grew stranger. The photographs taken by investigators began circulating among researchers and journalists. Those images showed a tiny humanoid figure with an elongated skull, thin limbs, and large hollow eye sockets. The appearance was so unusual that people began debating what it truly was. Some scientists insisted the creature must have been a human infant suffering from extreme genetic deformities. They argued that radiation in the region, especially after the nearby Kyshtym nuclear disaster decades earlier, could have caused severe mutations. But others were not convinced. They pointed to the proportions of the body, the unusual skull shape, and the strange texture of the skin. To them, Alyoshenka did not resemble any known medical condition. Paranormal researchers soon became involved, claiming the creature could be evidence of extraterrestrial life. According to their theory, the tiny being might have been a visitor from somewhere beyond Earth. The story spread through Russian television programs, documentaries, and newspapers. The small town of Kyshtym suddenly found itself at the center of an international mystery. Yet one person who could have provided more answers was no longer there. Tamara Prosvirina, the woman who discovered the creature, died under tragic circumstances not long after the investigation began. In 1999, she was reportedly struck by a car while walking near a road outside the town. Her death closed the last direct link to the original discovery. Without the body, without a full scientific examination, and without the only witness who had cared for the creature, the truth about Alyoshenka was lost. Today, the story remains one of Russia's most unsettling mysteries. Was Alyoshenka simply a tragic human mutation, misunderstood and misidentified? Or was it something far more extraordinary? Something that should never have been found in the forests of the Ural Mountains, until real evidence appears again. The tiny being known as the Kyshtym Dwarf remains suspended between science, myth, and the unknown. And somewhere in the shadows of forgotten history, the question still waits for an answer. What exactly did Tamara Prosvirina find that day in the forest?